Hi everyone, my name is Ernesto Avalos and I am, as you can probably tell from my accent, I am from the United States and I'm a volunteer here with iWith.org. And today we're going to be talking about communication through social media, and we know that there's a lot of information out there on the internet about this, but here at iWith we want to share our experience and our tips on the world of social media and how you can better use social media to communicate your project's goals more consciously, efficiently, and most of all, effectively. So in this presentation, we'll be speaking about three main topics, and those are, the first one is who communicates about your project. And here we're going to be talking about the actors of communication and who's spreading your information. The three main groups we're going to talk about are organizers, participants, and partners. And the second point that we're going to talk about is how to organize the communication process. We're going to talk about what roles to give people and how to divide the work. And the last part is, finally, we're going to end with some key tips on the do's and don'ts of communication through social media, and more specifically with Facebook and Twitter. Now let's talk about the actors. So as you can see from our visual here on the slide, we have a certain hierarchy as to how information is dealt with in regards to your organization. In sum, there are three types of participants that interact with your information. At the very center, there's you, that's the organizers themselves. Then comes the participants who play a key role in your organization and interact with you and your information the most. And finally, there are the organization's partners. Okay, so as you, the organizer, you have two main jobs. Your first job is to have a communication strategy. And for this part, we're going to have an entire video based on this point on effective communication strategies, so we're not going to get into that too much right now. But on the second point is, when you're developing your project, it's easy to forget about spreading the word on your organization and on your project, and you might not wait until the last minute to do so. So this can be a big mistake. So it's very important to assign a person in charge of communication from the very beginning of your project. We do this so that the person is aware of the role within the organization from the very beginning, and they can formulate ideas and collect content to share and spread in a more efficient and timely manner. Now, on the second actors is the participants. Now for the participants, we want to set some rules about communicating. Some of these rules include having the Erasmus Plus logo on any posts or interactions they make on social media. They should present the Erasmus logo visibly along with maybe the name of your project, and to make sure that we should always make sure that the participants always include a hashtag that if you decided to use a hashtag for your project, just to increase awareness and visibility. One final point is to encourage participants to engage in conversation with local youth after the project to widen the reach of your project and who is impacted by it. Second point for our participants is we need to be aware that there's a limited time to communicate during your project. So it's very nice to set some time apart so everyone can make their Twitter posts, their tweets, their Facebook posts, so that they can share the project and the goals that you have and everything that you've been doing and working on, so that your project can have a larger audience, beyond just the participants. So it's important to not only motivate people to post, but also to identify who likes to take pictures and who likes to write texts and captions, so that these people, they can be the ones who do this the more frequently for your project, and they'll actually find enjoyment out of this because they like doing this type of work. So our third actors are our partners. So the partners usually have the least time to spare than the other two, than you or your participants. And so your job as the organizer is to make their lives as easy as possible. So all you have to do is put all the information that you want your partners to share into an email or something that you can get to them easily. And this email can include information on social media posts that you want them to make for you, or links to certain posts or tweets that you have made on your account that you want them to retweet or repost from your partner's account, right? And you can easily put all this information in an email and send it to them, and ask them to just share your goals and share your project to their audience as well. Okay, and now we're going to go into some tips on how to use social media better, right? So first, we're going to talk about the hashtag. The hashtag can be a very useful tool when you're communicating online. There's a lot of information out there on how to use hashtags, but here are 4 tips on how to do them most effectively and what has worked for us in the past as well. So our very first tip is to not use a hashtag for every single word. You don't want to have a tweet with this example that we put here, like hashtag do, hashtag not, hashtag use. You know, this makes it very complicated for your users, and it's just too much. just like our second point, this is as well. It's just too much. You don't want your audience to guess what letter is the first word of the word, or the second word, or this. The second point in hashtag, do not use a hashtag to describe a whole tweet or post. Like, I can hardly read that, so you don't want your audience to have trouble reading that either. And our second one is use hashtags that are recognizable. Don't use acronyms that are too long or too complicated. Hashtags are about simplicity, so you want to get your message out there as short and as quick as possible, right? And so our last point is to always include the hashtag Erasmus+, because this is gonna bring you into the conversation of Erasmus+. It's gonna share the Erasmus+ goal, the logo, and just in general, it's gonna bring Erasmus+ organization to a larger audience, and bring your organization to a larger audience as well. So here on our next slide, we have a couple tips for Facebook and Twitter on how to make the best posts, on how to formulate your tweets the best, right? So our first point is including a link. So it'll help the user, if you include a link in your post, it'll help the user find whatever you're trying to show them at in an easier fashion. If you were just to include a website or something, you don't want the audience to put in too much work, you know, or else they're not going to go to the site that you want them to. So you want to make your audience's life as easy as possible, and just put a link in there and to send them wherever you want them to go. And of course, like we were saying before with the hashtags, it's all about simplicity. The shorter, the better. There have been some studies that for posts like on Facebook, where you have a little bit more room, posts between 100 and 150 characters are the most efficient. And then on Twitter, like, you only have a limit of 140, but the best tweets are between 70 and 100 characters. And you also want to use mentioning to build a community. So mentioning is when you include like a person or organization within your post, and you tag them on your post, and you want to mention partners or volunteers in posts to build a network and cooperation to show that your organization really cares and is involved with the community. Right? And so our next point is call to action. You want to end each post or tweet using a question or asking for feedback from the user. And the percentage of possible answers increases a lot when you're asking for a call to action. You don't want to put any boring texts, and you want to try to build a dialogue with your posts so that people can interact with them. And you can do this with a call to action, right? And our last point is to include images and short videos. Like, of course, you know, the common saying is a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's so true with posts and tweets. You want to get a picture out there to show what your project is like, maybe some graphics or some visuals that really show what you're trying to do with your project or your organization, so as to communicate that better with your audience, right? So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for your attention, and we hope that you can share your experience with us in the forum below, so that together we can build a conversation around this topic in order to share each other's best practices in the field of social communication. Thank you.